.com code HERD or call 800-CAR-6000 code HERD. So last week, one of America's most beloved media icons, me, suggested, not so subtly, that the number 3 pick is Detroit. And if you want to actually add some juice to your franchise, you may want to take a guy that could change your franchise. A cornerback is not changing your franchise. It's not changing your franchise. A linebacker from Clemson is not changing your franchise. Tua changes your franchise. This was me last week. For bad teams, you're trying to draft somebody that changes your future. Who's the team nobody's talking about? We're speculating with every team. Detroit. Go draft a quarterback. Nothing against Matt Stafford. Put him on the market and see what you can get. Number 3, you're going to settle for a corner? You got Burrow maybe? You got Tua? You got Justin Herbert? Roll the dice. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think they have the guts to do it. But this loyalty to Matt Stafford, 11 years, no division titles, 10 games under 500, and they've had good players. I don't want to hear about what he hasn't had. What's Tom Brady got to throw to? They went 12-4. I'm over what he doesn't have. He's had many opportunities. The year Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Minnesota couldn't get their quarterback right, had Case Keenum. Chicago's had all sorts of dysfunctions. 11 years, 10 under 500. No playoff wins. No division titles. Listen, as a fan, ask yourself this. Trust your instincts. If you're in a relationship and you think your partner is cheating, you're right. Your instincts are right. Trust them. They write books about stuff like this. Trust your instincts. Your heart, your mind, your eyes, they're telling you the truth. If you're a fan, and I know you're loyal to your quarterbacks, but if you are ever deep down privately, you're like, I don't know if Marcus Mariota works. It doesn't. You're right. In Tampa, Jameis, I don't think you're right. It doesn't. The organizations that are honest, be honest in Chicago. You're not winning Super Bowls with Trubisky. Get over it. You're not. Be honest with yourself. Your instincts as sport fans are right, just like they are in relationships. If your gut feeling is telling you in Baltimore 2 years ago, Flacco's just not accurate enough, you were right. He's not special athletically. Kansas City, Alex Smith. We're not going to go on the road in Foxborough and win with Alex Smith. You were right. The teams that are honest are right. Matt Stafford's fine. On the market, he and Derek Carr on the market would get suitors. Teddy Bridgewater, who doesn't have nearly the arm of Matt Stafford, I don't think he's as talented as Derek Carr. Teddy Bridgewater's going to have a very nice market for him. But here's my question. Bob Quinn's the GM, and Matt Patricia's the head coach. This is their last year. They're fighting for their careers. If you're freaking out about the cap hit, draft Tua, sit him for a year. Sit him. Let him learn from a pro and Matt Stafford. If you're freaking out, he's still the best player available and the most impactful player available at the number 3 spot. Because I got news for you. You're going to pick that corner. You're going to go 8-8, and you're both out of work. Because Minnesota and Green Bay are going to be really good. Green Bay's young. Matt LaFleur's young. They're getting better. But this opportunity is very, very unique. Green Bay, I think Aaron Rodgers is slightly declining. Kirk Cousins is limited. And Mitch Trubisky enough said, here's your window. Add juice. Add the best player in the market at that position. And if the salary cap freaks you out, draft him and sit him for a year. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Aaron Rodgers sat for years. Patrick Mahomes runs the league now. He sat for a year. Sit him behind a pro and Matt Stafford. But Stafford on the market, you could absolutely get something for him. Raiders will get something for Derek Carr. Saints could have traded Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater's got a market. Stafford will have a market. Derek Carr's going to have a market. But if you're trying to change the franchise, by the way, I suggested this last week. Now a Vegas casino of note. Fox Bet both. Even odds. Even odds now. I suggested it last week. Now Vegas and Fox Bet. Dolphins, Lions, favorites to get Tua. I buried the lead. That was what I should have started with. Now Vegas is like saying, yeah, Fox Bet, yeah, this is what's going to happen. Okay, who's going to change your franchise? A corner or the most talented quarterback, in my opinion, in the draft? Who's changing your franchise? It's not the corner. You're going to go 7-9 with a new corner. I'll just throw to the other side, or a guy that would take 68 snaps. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
I believe you were talking about this yesterday, the possibility of Stefon Diggs going to the Patriots. That would be someone that Tom Brady would like to play alongside.
It makes so much sense. You got to pay money, but he's unhappy, and they need a veteran receiver.
Well, he was at the center of trade rumors last season when he was unhappy with his role with the Vikings offense, and now those rumors are picking up again because he deleted all the Vikings-related content from his Instagram page. So he signed a 5-year, $72 million extension with the Vikings in 2018. He's not a free agent until 2024. His Twitter profile still shows him in a Vikings uniform, so maybe he hasn't gotten around to changing that yet. But this is a little subtle shot.
Okay, I was told this yesterday on the phone by somebody who I deeply trust. They are really close to the cap here. Okay, so Minnesota's paying Vikings paying a lot of guys. Mike Zimmer is going to fight to keep the defensive guys. Mike Zimmer would have no problem moving off a receiver. He's a defensive guy. So Stefon Diggs is one of the most talented guys that probably would not get a huge, because they have a very good GM in Minnesota. They got one of the best GMs in the league. And I like Mike Zimmer as a coach, but he's a defensive guy. He's going to go and fight for his defensive linemen, his pass rushers, his safeties, and his linebackers. Is he going to fight for a wide receiver who can be a social media pain in the butt and gets hurt occasionally? I don't think he is. Stefon Diggs is there for the taking if you are willing to give up a first-round pick.
If you're willing to pay a very high price.
Because they got Thielen, they got Irv Smith, they got Kyle Rudolph, they got Dalvin Cook, they got their veteran quarterback. Their coach is going to fight for the other side of the ball, not Diggs.
I mean, if I'm the Vikings, I'm not moving Stefon Diggs.
Oh.
You need Stefon Diggs.
All right.
I mean, Dalvin Cook is obviously how that offense runs, but I mean, Kirk Cousins, I think we all know what he is at this point. Like, you need that kind of talent on your team.
Right.
But if he's unhappy, but you have to get the right price. Like, who's willing to give a first-round pick for Stefon Diggs? So that's what you're going to have to do, at least.
New England.
If they're going to
solves a lot of problems. Now Edelman's at 2, Sanu's at 3, N'Keal Harry's at 4.
It solves a problem, but this all has to happen relatively quickly.
It's like having a decent baseball staff and adding a 22-game winner. Then your 1 can go to a 2, your 2 becomes a great 3, your 3 becomes a great 4.
Right, but the issue is Tom Brady needs to let them know within the next 2-3 weeks what his plan is, and if they don't get this done within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I like Stefon Diggs a lot. A lot.
He's one of the best receivers in the league, of
course.
Top
5 receiver, absolutely.
Yes. So the Lakers and Clippers are expected to face off in the Western Conference Finals this year, but if that happens, Magic Johnson isn't completely confident his former team will have the edge. He said, if you look at man for man, the Clippers are probably better than the Lakers in terms of bench, but Anthony Davis and LeBron James, to me, they're going to be the key. They're going to have to dominate in that series, and then they're going to need that third scorer. Well, it was reported that the Clippers have agreed to sign Reggie Jackson, who was bought out by the Pistons. So they added Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson over the last few weeks.
Is Reggie Jackson now their 4th guard? He'll probably be their number 4 guard.
I mean, he's a bench guy. He's
be a good bench guy.
Of course. And Reggie Jackson's a veteran. Has a lot of experience. It's a good move for them. It also kind of takes away another option for the Lakers for their depth. But to me, it's two-sided, because while I do agree with Magic, playoffs are about the stars. So the NBA playoffs are about the stars. But there's always, it's kind of a rotation when you get into these teams that now obviously we don't have any big 3 situations. We don't have any dynasty situations. It's kind of all 2 great players on each team. The role players are going to be so much more important. You don't have a Chris Bosh. You don't have a Kevin Love on most of these teams. So those role players are going to be crucial, and the Clippers seem to have more.
Yeah, I don't know how much the Lakers wanted Reggie Jackson, but I do think the Clippers, I'll get into it later. This is a deep roster. I mean, at some point with Doc Rivers, not that there'll be a chemistry issue, but you got a lot of mouths to feed.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're pretty much done, and they don't want to disrupt their roster too much because they do have good chemistry.
Yeah.
So you don't want to make too many moves this late in the season. So finally, a lot of MLB players are obviously frustrated with the way the league has handled the Astros sign-stealing scandal, and LeBron James has shared his thoughts as well. He's getting in on it. He tweeted, "Listen, I know I don't play baseball, but I'm in sports, and I know if someone cheated me out of winning the title and I found out about it, I would be bleeping irate. I mean, like, uncontrollable about what I would/could do. listen here, baseball commissioner. Listen to your players speaking today about how disgusted, mad, hurt, broken, et cetera, about this. Literally, the ball is in your court, or should I say field, and you need to fix this for the sake of sports. Hashtag just my thoughts coming from a sports junkie, regardless my own sport I play.
Well, he's got a right to an opinion. If I have a right to an opinion, LeBron can have one.
I don't have a problem with LeBron having an opinion about it. He's the biggest athlete in the world. Yeah, of course he has an opinion about it. And he is very into sports and follows sports other than basketball.
Yeah, LeBron's a diehard sports fan.
Right, but I don't think it's for the sake of sports. I think it's a little exaggerated. And we've talked about this a lot over the past couple days, but it doesn't seem like the story is going away. There's Aaron Judge is talking about it now, saying that
I got to tell you, the Yankees and the Dodgers, telling how outraged they are with cheaters. Eric Gagne wrote a book. I use HGH, best closer in the game for 5 years.
I will say in the players' defense, the current players' defense.
Yeah.
They aren't involved in the steroid era, so this is maybe their steroid era scandal. So they do have a right to be upset. It did affect their careers. A lot of them feel like they were cheated out of an opportunity.
No, I'm not banging the players, but a lot of the fans for the Yankees and the Dodgers.
I mean, fans and former players, I'm with you on that. But these current players do have a right to be upset about it.
By the way, the Yankees won 5 World Series titles, Goulet, in the 15-year steroid era. How many World Series titles do the Yankees have outside of the steroid era?
Yeah, and the 29 other teams had no steroids. It was just the Yankees.
Mostly. I read the Metro Report front to back.
Well, we'll talk more about this story this afternoon on my new show, Joy Chat, which debuts on the interactive streaming platform Caffeine. It'll be every Wednesday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, right after The Herd. So we'll get into some more stories that we've talked about on The Herd, some trending stories, internet stories, culture, entertainment. So come and check us out. Caffeine.tv or download the Caffeine app, and you can watch live, and there's also interaction. So if you want to chat with me or the producers, you can jump on the show and be a part of the show as well. So
good stuff. Congratulations to you. All right, Caffeine. Joy on caffeine. Aren't we all? That's Joy with the news.
Well, that's the